What's up, y'all? Welcome back. It's your girl, the Hall Monitor, and I have been waiting for you in this episode. Y'all can't see me dancing, but if you can, vibe with me. But anyway, so we're here and we have some amazing guests on the show. And before I introduce them, I just want to go ahead and give you guys information on what today's topic is going to be. We are all about community, outreach, engagement, all that jazz, because right now we are in a crisis and it's time to really tap in. We need to go back to our roots, okay? Back to the roots and get tapped in of that community and what does it mean to have a community and be a part of a community. So without further ado, we have the sex ed teacher.
Hi.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes. Okay, and we have the education advocate.
Hello.
Period. And y'all know how we always start the show, right? Glow. Not really a glow anymore. We changed it from glows and grows to rose and thorn in my ass. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off. Rose this week. I got a new job.
Yay.
Okay. Yeah. And the new job, I know y'all thinking like, wait, is this a rerun? No, this is not a rerun. But this job here, y'all, this was the job that I have been waiting for. Like, passionate about, ready to make an impact. So I'm super, super excited about that. Thorn in my ass are some of these trifling parents. I'm not even gonna lie. You're doing your children a disservice, bro. Yeah. Step up. Tap in. Step up. Be as present as you can. And if you can't, stop having more.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm going to toss it off at that moment. Rose the thorn in my ass. Go ahead, sex ed teacher.
Hey, I'm the sex ed teacher. Mm-hmm. I think my rose for the week is your girl got to go to New York on my company's dime. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you can a company, baby.
I was like, oh, look at me on my little city trip in New York, being a business girl. So that was really cool. The thorn in my ass, though, was the walking. That walking was crazy. I broke my leg last year. And so it's been...
I'm going to need you to slow that down.
You know what I'm saying? That was like, I'm testing myself. I'm testing my body.
In New York, I've never been, but I've seen it's a lot of walking.
It's a lot of walking. Yeah.
I shouldn't have tested myself. Yeah, for sure. Yes. My watch was going off. Like, girl, you haven't moved like this in a year. This is a ding, 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 ding. Like, so.
Exercise ring going crazy.
Other than that, recouping from that and just being exhausted.
Yeah.
It's been a week. Yeah. What about you?
Sweet. Okay, guys. I am the education advocate.
Yes.
And so my rose is that I have officially quit gardening. If you know what I mean. Yes.
Wow.
I am about 3 months clean of that green.
Congratulations.
I just feel so good.
You should. Yes.
And I want to say my thorn is just people that aren't honest. I've been running into a lot of liars, you know, and so that is
she
just
was a friend of mine.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hate a liar.
Hate a liar. Just be truthful.
Just be truthful. Like,
what are you scared of?
Who gonna whoop you?
We're adults.
I mean,
we're
adults, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
However,
you may deserve that.
You made
may
accountability.
But
be prepared for it.
But what is that? Yeah. Speaking of that, and we're talking about liars, things that we don't like, and that lets me go to who do you surround yourself with? We are talking about community and outreach and engagement and all of that things, but I want to go with the word community first. So, who's in your community? Like, who would you consider like this is my community? I think sometimes people don't understand that community doesn't have to necessarily be like where exactly you live or what school you're at. Or it could, right? So, like, I might feel super close. Like, my school is my community. Or my rec center is my community. So, like, who is in your community? Who do you consider?
I would say, who's in my community? The 92%.
Oh.
Okay. The girls.
The girls.
The girls.
What girls?
The black and brown girls.
Yeah.
They are my community. And you know what? I work with and I frequent people who may not be Black or brown, right?
Gotcha.
And they do care about my best interest. But I just find that I am most comfortable amongst my girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Completely understand that. I definitely feel like my community is like Detroit.
Hey, what up,
I
though?
represent Detroit everywhere that I go.
Nah, for real.
I wear it on my shoulder. Like I love Detroit so much.
We're different.
And I also say that my community are women identified people. The theys, the thems. I'm a very inclusive person, and so just representing like marginalized communities is very important to me. And also work, unfortunately, like I have the type of job where like work is like it is your community, like you believe in the work that you do, and so
and that's something we should literally push for, because people are not used to that, so that's good to say.
It is good to say. Like,
you know
I
what?
will,
Hell
I look towards those people for advice and like well-being, and
that's really good.
I have a good community at both the jobs that I work, and I think is just very important.
Sister at both jobs.
Absolutely.
Clock it.
Period.
Period. Who ain't got no income?
Okay. Double down.
Okay.
You work in nonprofits,
baby.
Yikes! Have a jobs.
Big ass. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So then I guess I will go on to adding on to that question of how did you find it? Like, how do you know something is your community? Like, how do you know? Like, ooh, yeah, you in that with me?
I would just say like I said, where I feel most comfortable, where I feel most safe. Like I can be my true self.
Yeah.
Again, I know the people in this circle have my best interest,
For sure.
and they're gonna move in that way. So
I will agree with that. It's who I'm drawn to.
Yeah.
Always been drawn to helping Black women. Always been drawn to showing up for Detroit. And it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's within me, my community, and I reflect my community as well. And so, it's just really natural to show up in those spaces.
Baby, I swear, people popping on here just be dropping jeans and shit. And I just love it because, when you say like, both of you basically touched on it, like reflecting your community, right? So, I think a lot of times too, when we find our community or we're looking for it, sometimes we're afraid to show our authentic self. And I feel like once you start to do that, that's when you really find your people. And then they allow you to bring that out of you. And then now it just exudes you the whole entire time. So not everybody is just like, if you in my community, we both just moving the same, grooving the same, we're connecting. I would say for me too, in my experience, sometimes I had a hard time finding my community.
Oh yeah.
Because of how I was perceived, or assumptions, or, just kind of thinking like, oh my God, what if they don't like me this way? Or I don't know, like this. So I was a little apprehensive, but the older I've gotten and the more comfortable in myself is like, I don't give a damn. If you vibe with me, you vibe with me. If you don't, you don't.
For sure.
And then that's when I noticed that my community, I look back and I'm like, oh wow, like I would consider you. Some people at my church, I'm like, oh, like this is this. Like I vibe. I kind of like this. I rock with it. Even like the basketball community, even though a lot of these sexist men, but it's cool. The women coaches, I'm vibing with you. We're locked in.
That's good.
It is what it is.
Y'all have to support each other.
You have to, right? Because in this, especially now, and I hate to keep saying that, but it's just the truth. Like right now, we need to lean on each other more than ever.
Absolutely.
And we are stronger in numbers.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And so we need to continue building. I think we forgot that idea of like, it's not just an individualistic world. We need a community.
We need community.
Yeah.
That's why we have a loneliness epidemic right now, because everybody's
talk about it.
I'm gonna be my house.
You okay?
I'm gonna cancel.
It's so annoying.
It's like, what did you cancel for? Like that person could have been looking for all week to talk to you or to sit with you. And you have to weigh those options.
Yeah,
like, I saw something this week and it was like, with community comes annoyance sometimes.
Hello?
Like sometimes you have to consider somebody else's feelings. And I'm like that myself. Like I'm a big solo tripper. I'm a big solo type of person because that's how I had to be in the past. But with doing that, I still have to take a break and be like, should I invite a friend to this?
Yeah.
Because maybe they're going to feel some type of way. Like, you have to take that time to consider people.
Yeah.
I literally was going to, that just leads me into the next thing is that have you ever had to leave a part of you behind that you thought was a piece of your community, and you're like, you know what? So kind of just how you touched on with solo, being in that loneliness era, was kind of like, I thought that was me. I was that loner community, and I'm actually not.
I would say that is still me. I would say that I try to change that to like just keep people involved, because I can be like just in my little bubble sometimes, but I would say a community that I probably had to leave. Not necessarily had to leave it, just like ideals of, like you said, just being yourself. It's okay to be goofy. It's okay to be quirky. And like as a Black woman, sometimes we're not allowed to be that in those spaces. So try not to like suppress that side of me more so than to leave the community. Like find people that accept me for who I am.
I think a piece of me that I had to leave behind was I was at a point in my life like overly obsessed with the baddie culture. And I started to feel like, because that's not naturally who I am. Now, I do have elements. Like I can step.
Hey,
I can step.
We all can get a little jig.
But I was like trying to make that my entire personality and trying to surround myself with women who that's their personality. And I was trying to figure out like, why are we not clicking? Why do I not feel fulfilled? Why do I not feel like 100% safe here? And so when I really got to know myself, like, okay, Miosha, that's not what you like. Like that's not, you actually do like to play video games and you know what I'm saying? You know, so I had to leave that behind, and I really resonate with what you said is when I truly leaned into who I was and what I liked, my community formed around me. So yes.
It's cliche, but it's like your people will find you. It's cliche to say, but it's true. And I think it's important too, sometimes we being comfortable in that space too that you were talking about, and you know, sometimes as Black women too, we kind of feel like we have to put on this facade daily. So it's like, okay, I got to go in here and I have to But even when I think back of like a community that I've not necessarily left, but have to shift my mindset on what part of the community I want to be of, is the educator community. Because a lot of people, you know, even by the way that I refer to myself as an educator, it's not like Miss in my last name. It's Miss in my nickname for my first name. You know, it's just like my style of teaching, how I connect with the kids. I think there's this idea that people expect, or this box that they put educators in, like y'all are supposed to dress this way, act this way, talk this way, and really ultimately look this way, i.e. white women. You know, and I'm like, actually, no. And I'm going to be that person that's going to go against the grain. I'm going to also put critical race theory in my classroom. I do not care. I'm going to close the door if you can't handle it. So, you know, definitely having to leave that piece, but shift my community in that sense. So that goes. Okay, so this kind of also like shifts into, have you ever worked in a space, right? Worked in a space that stated that they served the community, but didn't.
Oh, I am tickled, honey. Right after I had my baby, I was so pressed to find a job. So pressed. So I found a job. It was a nonprofit.
Okay.
It's on the east side of Detroit. I won't specify any further. But they were right in the middle of the Black community. But everybody who worked there and had a position that was actually paying was not us. And the founder was a Black man from the east side of Detroit. And he was very anti-Black. Like, went around and told the kids, you don't need to go to HBCU. They don't prepare you for the real world. Like, it was so insane to see. And they just were not interested at all with connecting with the actual community that they were in. Like, they had their group of kids that they had since they were younger. And they were good. Like, they weren't interested in actually making connections. And it was a very interesting experience for me.
So what did you do?
Well, so I was really pressed to have my own because I had just had a baby, and I didn't want to get lost in like motherhood and all of that. So I'm like, okay, I can be okay with this. I couldn't be okay with it. I ended up letting them know, like, y'all are white. And y'all act like y'all not white.
Hold up a mirror.
I was fired the very next day.
No.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
No. They got me out of there. Well, the lady that I worked under, she would, for Halloween, brought in a box full of wigs that looked like,
please,
and she would put one on and they would put one on, and she would say things to me like, oh, black don't crack, and really try to talk to me like she was
down.
And I couldn't fake the funk. Like, I would just be looking like, so I just had to let her know, like, you white, right? Like, So yeah, very interesting experience.
Yeah, that's one way to leave the fuck.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. Yikes.
Sex ed, you ever had
to? I definitely have had experience like that. I'm in a unique experience. This is the same job I had since I left college. So,
cool.
Wow. I've been here for quite some time.
That's good. Yeah.
One thing that I feel like for the organizations that I work for, we have to be very cautious of how we enter in the community.
Yes.
We never want to be like, let's go into the community and tell these people stop having all these babies.
Yeah. Very true.
Here's birth control. Like, it's not like we can't do that.
Yeah.
We have to approach it in ways to whereas it's culturally sensitive. We're informing people, but not pushing information onto people. And we're giving people the things that they actually need versus what we think they need. And big so with that, I also have to prepare my community for that as well. Because I have been in black spaces where they say like, well, you need to tell these girls they need to get on birth control and have to stop having all these kids because they're messing up their future. And it's like, that's eugenics.
Yeah. Ooh.
So
explain.
That is
okay, because
eugenics is rooted in white supremacy, and so we even have to check ourselves for our privileges in our communities as well. And so with my organization, it's more so making sure you are being culturally aware entering into these spaces, and also making sure, like, I don't know, with sexual health is so hard because, like, I had to fight our black community to make sure it's important.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people were just told, like, don't have no babies, don't bring them home.
Exactly.
And that's not sex ed.
Exactly.
No. You know? And with the organization or the people that I work with, is more so like LGBTQ rights matter with black people too. We need to learn about consent and healthy relationships too.
It matters.
We need to know about options as well. We need to have access to these things, and like making sure they understand it's important for our community to have access as well.
And okay, I'm gonna let y'all digest that. Okay, and when we come back from the break, we're gonna go ahead and tap back in a little more. I got some more community questions, a lot of things about what does community entail, all that jazz. Baby, we're on fire, so go ahead, stay tuned, tap in. Your girl will be back.
These kids say anything else.
They keep on
I ain't going to lose my mind. Did I pay the light bill?
You want me to keep on?
Oh my God, what time? What time is he at? Oh my goodness, I forgot to sign up for karate. Oh my God, the dishes are not going to do themselves.
You go to bed at 9, you can still get 8 hours of sleep. Have you or a loved one experienced feelings of stress, burnout, or wondered if maybe you're the red flag?
Do you sometimes feel like everyone else has life figured out while you're just trying to keep your plants alive?
If you answer yes to either of these questions, you may be entitled to get your shit together.
Queen's Arsenal is a revolutionary podcast designed to destigmatize mental health with real conversations, accountability challenges, and a healthy dose of cognitive reframing. So, if you're tired of self-care advice that just tells you to drink more water and meditate, we've got you covered.
At Queen's Arsenal, we go beyond the surface, dive into relatable stories and tools that actually help you get your mind right.
So why suffer in silence? Tune in to season 2 of Queen's Arsenal, where mental health is made approachable, humorous, and refreshingly real.
Because you don't need another bubble bath, you need Queen's Arsenal.
Side effects may include spontaneous self-reflection, unplanned journaling, the sudden urge to set boundaries, and an unexpected desire to finally address the thing that you've always been putting off. Listeners have reported increased clarity, heightened self-awareness, and occasional moments of, wow, I really needed to hear that. Queen's Arsenal is not responsible for any self-realizations, relationship audits, or life epiphanies that may occur. Subscribe now to Queen's Arsenal Season 2, coming soon to all podcast platforms. You may be entitled to get your life together. If you or someone you know is ready to embrace radical self-awareness, face a few uncomfortable truths, and finally stop procrastinating on your personal growth, Queen's Arsenal might just be the place to start. Listen responsibly, as side effects may be irreversible and could lead to a life you're actually excited about.
All right, y'all, and we're back. Definitely had to chit chat it up. Okay, shout out to those who fellow trip, i.e., sex ed teacher and others. Okay, we're gonna get it. Education advocate and I, we're gonna go. Yes, we're gonna go. Don't worry about it. We're gonna get there. But we left off, y'all, talking about community. Of course, that is our focus. That is our goal of today. Getting engaged, outreach. We were talking about having to leave communities, and leaving those spaces. People perpetrating. Okay, you are not who you say that you are. And I mean, that's kind of me. I was in a space that I thought was in an education world, and they bamboozled me. But I peeped game and I skedaddled. So yeah, very true. But now another big reason of why I have them on the show is because of what the hell they do, y'all. Okay, so what would you say your role is in the community, and what does it entail?
So I'm an education advocate, and essentially I work with families, children, and I kind of educate them on their educational rights. I empower them to advocate for themselves in the educational system, and just provide resources, try to combat homelessness, or try to provide resources for families that are experiencing that. So that's my role. That's what I do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I teach sex education. I teach sex education for all ages. So ages, I say 3 and up.
Okay.
I have some classes coming up with 60-plus-year-olds. So
wow.
All ages. I really do mean that. And with that, I do a lot of community outreach. I run some college programs and some adult education programs. I'm a birth and postpartum doula, and I also coordinate a doula program as well.
What else?
I need the number.
Hell, y'all out here doing shit. And do.
Yeah.
Okay, both of y'all. I think too, like, the reason too is both of your jobs are things that are not talked about. No one talks about educational rights.
Yeah.
What are those, right? People barely know their regular rights as far as law enforcement. So, we have educational rights. And then sex ed. Who talks about that?
Nobody.
Unless you go figure it out yourself, and these kids are scrolling and trying to figure out. Like, I had a student.
Please.
Okay? I had a student search the word pussy.
Not the deep side. We both did the deep side.
Y'all both
just
searching
searching
it and said, let me find out what it is.
It's so accessible for them to just, the misinformation is
Okay.
so accessible.
And so now these are things that they're just kind of self-educating themselves on, that they think is education, but it's not.
If you're getting it from Twitter or X, it's not education.
Hello?
No.
They're feeding it to you.
Yeah.
So, I think
Porn isn't real.
Lit. Da, da, da.
It's the realization I came to.
What? Look.
They be like, huh?
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
Mind boggle my ass.
Yes.
Well, shit. Well, shit. Since we talk about your role, I guess, how do you measure your impact? And especially too, like, separating with that of sometimes we put on or we wear this heavy coat of like, okay, I have to make sure that I'm doing this. I have to make sure I am giving this much at my job, to the point where we become overwhelmed. Yeah. So how do you combat that by saying, I did enough. I'm making my impact, but I'm not going to beat myself down to a pulp where I have nothing else to give.
Yeah. I think I measure my impact by the relationships and just the progress, right? If I'm able to build substantial relationships with families, if I am able to watch a family who didn't know how to advocate for themselves now have the confidence to do so, I know I'm doing exactly, like, I know I did the job right. And then how I combat like that, wearing that heavy coat and knowing when enough is enough is those boundaries. Like, okay, once you've done this, step back and allow a parent, because sometimes parents can take a little bit of advantage.
For sure.
And so allow them to now show you that they learn what you taught them.
I do, we do, you do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now you do it.
Yes. Now you do it.
Do it.
For me, sometimes I feel like I can get like siloed because a lot of times I work with like grants, and so it's like you need to reach this amount of kids by this date, by this quarter, and so like that can be like very heavy,
daunting.
Very much so. Like especially doing those reports. So I really measure my impact by like, I don't know, the people I interact with. So like if I do a presentation on STIs and somebody walks up to me after and they're like, I never knew all this information. It's the teacher. It's not even the student.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I never knew this information. Can you give me more? Like, can you tell me this? Or they're asking more questions than the students. Or if I go and do a consent presentation and someone's just saying like, you know, they're realizing at times they did not have consent.
Yep.
And they're just like, thank you for giving me this information and breaking it down like this. And so just those interactions that I get, and sometimes it's daily depending on what I'm doing, they really make a difference, especially at Pride. Oh my goodness, at Pride they're like, thank you for your service. I was just like talking to my coworker, I'm like, that's where we're celebrities. Like that's we walk through the crowd, people like, oh my God, you're back. Like it's like it's like our celebrity event. It really is. So just like being received by the community like that is very important to me. And sometimes that matters more than the grants and the numbers that they want us to do.
Yeah. And that kind of touches on the next thing that I was going to ask, right? Because we talk about numbers and, you know, the reality behind a lot of these jobs is data. Right? Data drives everything. I got to read the data. Let me know. Are you reaching people? Are you really doing what you say you're doing? So how do we ensure that what we're doing, the impact that we're making, are reaching these kids in particular? How do we measure that? Is my impact enough? Like, are they feeling it?
That is a deep question. Yeah. Because I feel like with my role, sometimes we kind of have a checklist, right? Like do this, do this, do this, do that, and then the job's done. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like I really know that I've impacted a child or the youth when I can see even the smallest change. Because change, it doesn't happen overnight. That's right. And then there are external factors aside from me that may be saying something completely opposite from what I'm saying, or maybe encouraging something that I'm absolutely not encouraging. So if I can see even the smallest change in mindset, smallest change in actions, smallest change in behavior, I know like, okay, the seed I planted, it's a little water on there, you know.
Yeah.
I'm thankful that like some of the students that I work with, so I run like a small college group, and before that I work with like high schoolers in smaller groups, like groups of like 12. They are very vocal and they let us know. So like they have made me cry before. But like we're just so thankful you provided the space for us, and like I saw you last year at the outreach event. I'm so thankful you let me into the group. And like they're such sweethearts. Like one of my students was just like, I told my parents, we got into an argument, I was like, I was going to live with Natalie. And they were like, who is she? And I was just like, please don't get me ran down by no white people. Literally. Like, please don't get me ran down, please.
I love you, baby, but I cannot.
I cannot.
Can't go to jail.
So just hearing comments like that sometimes is, for me personally, it's hard to like receive those good comments sometimes. Like, I just be like, okay, y'all, now stop. But I am learning to just receive those a little bit more and bask in it a little bit.
For sure. If I had to answer that question, measuring my impact and ensuring that it's reaching students. I think like we basically are all saying it. It's just like the evidence that I see, the conversation, their action, and then what really I love is hearing the conversation with other students.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like they're telling them information like it really came from them, but it really came from me.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
They're like, actually, like, you shouldn't do that. And I'm like, okay, I see.
Yeah.
That type of stuff is like, okay, you actually took in what I said, and then now you're able to regurgitate it. Like, what? Yeah. And now in my new community, since I service teachers, I still see it now in the fact when I go back and visit their classrooms and I notice that they're implementing the changes that I said. Okay. So now students are more intrigued. Lessons are more interactive. The students are, the growth is happening. They want to come to school. Yeah. Attendance is higher now because you're actually giving your job your all. Yeah. So, yeah. So I guess that leads to literally like what's missing right now. What's missing in our community right now? If you had to pinpoint. I would
honestly say, if I could pick one thing I could think of, it's just authenticity. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of people sometimes get caught up in the optics of things. What can I record? What can I post? How can I turn this into content? Yeah. And completely miss the mark of what you are truly supposed to be doing. Yep. With this role, I told myself, like, I am not. Like, there's to be no recording. There's no content from this. Like, I don't want to miss and forget what I'm here for. So that's one thing I think is missing.
Oh, damn, I'm thinking about my content now. Damn. I did post that video, I'm not gonna lie. But,
I was big, like, when I was a teacher, I used to do it, but I really want to focus in.
Oh, yeah. Hone in for sure.
Yeah.
For me, what's missing is a lot. Don't get me to going.
Listen, come on.
We don't talk about sexual health. We don't prioritize our health in the Black community. No. And I just want us to take it a little bit more serious. Yes. We're the number one for contracting, especially Black women, HIV. Our STI rates are extremely high. Syphilis and gonorrhea are extremely high. I'm talking about has only increased over the last few years.
It's scary out
and it's just, we just don't take it serious. And I cringe at the way we talk about our sexual health and talk about not using protection and just talk about just like, girl, I don't care. And it's like we show we don't care. And so just having those open conversations is really important about sexual health. Is more than just preventing pregnancies. It's like also teaching people about consent and like what a healthy relationship looks like, and when it's time to go to the doctor and what's a pap smear, and if you have discharge and it looks different, like where should you go? And just normalizing those conversations. I take my job like super serious because I at first I did not see the need. It just wasn't talked about. Sexual health is just like,
no.
But being in the position and seeing how many of our children are not educated about it and then go and become adults, and then it's a whole nother generation that's not educated about it. It's a disservice to us. It's a huge disservice to us and how we can move along in life. Like, we are behind in ways of that. So
especially that consent piece.
Huge.
That consent piece is very important. And it's not talked about enough.
I never even talked about or learned about consent. To be honest, like it was just like, people don't touch you there and stuff like that, but it wasn't like, what is consent? How do you know? How is it given? How do you even ask for it?
Exactly. And I also see, let me just say, I see online people be like, oh, the age of consent is 16. It is in Michigan. And that means they're able to consent from the age of 16 to 18. That doesn't mean they're able to consent with somebody over the age of 18.
20. Yes, exactly.
25, 26. And y'all got these little high schoolers thinking that shit cute, and it's really not.
It's really not.
Lock them up.
Y'all really need to be ashamed of yourselves.
Lock them up. Why are they still on the
Boston
streets?
Richie, why is you out on the streets? Tiger.
Nazaya case.
Nazaya case.
Oh my God.
And
broke me.
Oh my! I had to literally like
Still
log
breaking.
off from
Couldn't do it.
from the news because it's like, okay, this
Couldn't do it.
Too many people failed her. This is a culture.
Her community.
In our community, this is a culture of like victim blaming.
Yes.
Oh, she's fast.
Yes.
The grooming.
Yes.
How you gonna be fast? You 11.
Hello?
Somebody.
And I
help me.
thought of, and I literally had this conversation as well, even in the schools, right? I noticed that I'm even mindful of my language. Immediately, if we see a girl put on a skirt, oh, she fast. She trying to be seen. We're already labeling her.
Yeah.
And it's not even probably didn't even cross her mind.
It starts at childhood. When they say them little girls, they be newborns. Okay. And they be like, she got a little attitude.
Yep.
She trying to steal her daddy.
Let me tell y'all something. As a mother with a 3-year-old, I'm having to check people like, hold on.
Yeah. Immediately.
Hold
Relax.
on. She's learning. She's growing her personality. There's, let's not.
She's
not
so innocent. She's just a little person.
Don't label my baby anything.
Don't you dare.
So yeah. Especially black girls.
Yes.
We do not get a chance to
Protect
be
us.
children. We're so adultified and sexualized.
Yes.
And then it's all our fault.
Childhood is just ripped. Grow up. Learn how to do it. Also, don't do too much.
Yep. Because it's your fault.
And then you don't have nobody to talk to about it.
Nope.
Hello? Nope. Or even just, and that's why I say for a while it took me a long time to figure out my community because, my mother and I even had this conversation now, and I'm like, you can only impart what you know, and she did the best. Like, love my parents, cool. Yeah. But even still, like, being told, like, don't be too much, okay, you're a strong girl, so other people may not like that. Don't say that, don't say this. So I was always inside questioning myself. Okay, was that too much? Oh no, she ain't gotta be my friend. So let me make it like a joke.
Hyper vigilant.
And I'm like, oh damn, I didn't realize how much that took a toll on me. It's still like something totally different. I was unlearning all of that in therapy. Like, oh shit, well, what is too much? Like, who made this definition? What's wrong with me? Right? Because you automatically make it a woe it's me type of thing, making sure that somebody else feels great. So and it starts at home, and then when we have them in the school, it starts there too. Like, you're constantly saying all these things, putting in labels, or just like my boys. Like, when I was a teacher,
young man,
I don't play about my boys. I don't play about them. And one thing that I want them to know is, and I always instilled in them, is that show emotion. It's okay.
Yes.
100%.
Like, you want the pink pencil? Sure.
Yeah.
You want to give me a hug? Great.
Please.
Awesome.
Did you know that I love you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I do.
Oh, come on, Harmar. Don't say that. I do.
I do.
And then
I do.
Okay, and then it became like, once I got to loop with some of my kids, so following them up in the grades, they did not play about me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't play about me. Follow me down the hallway.
Because you created that safe space for them.
Yeah.
That they may not have.
The
shock
I got the
on
their faces the first time you tell, like, you smart, right?
Okay.
Like, you're bright, and I believe in you. You can actually do this. They
Total
used to be
different
looking
game.
like.
And then
Why
I
you
had
saying
parent
that to
teacher
me?
conference, and mom comes up, and the first thing she hears about your bad grade is she punches you in the chest. Oh, okay, now it makes sense, right?
Not the chest punchers. I can't stand them.
You know the chest. Boom.
Parents, listen.
I'm going to teach them to be a man.
Be a man.
Generational curses through discipline and just like
Totally
it's jarring.
Yeah.
Even how people talk about their black bodies. Cover up.
Oh yeah.
Lock it down.
I had that experience a lot as a kid because I've always been shapely. Always been shapely. Not my control.
Yeah.
But I've
born like
always
this.
been. You can't wear that. You can't do that. And you trying to be fast. You trying to get people to look at you. And it's like, I'm actually not trying to get these grown men to look.
I like this outfit.
Check them in.
Hello.
Check the grown up.
I could not, like, and I've always had long hair, like, especially when I was a kid, my hair was super long. But my dad was adamant. Don't press it, nothing. Like, don't straighten it, don't do anything, no nail polish. My granny was always like, oh, she does not need to wear all black, like, that's provocative. It was
all black is provocative.
Listen,
it was not a game.
Listen,
wearing black, it was just like, it was too much. Red, anything like that. I remember for a dance recital, I was in dance as a kid, and you put makeup on. We were cats, and we had like red lipstick. My dad was like, nope. she's not gonna blend in, so I was a little oddball out.
Yeah,
it just wasn't a thing. Couldn't do it.
Crazy. When I was a teacher, I had a student who used to wear hot pink, like just a few braids. And it was a very older black teacher that used to work with me, and she used to always make little comments, and I'm like, it's freaking pink.
When else do you expect a person to wear pink and blue?
You don't think hot 30-year-old gonna walk around with that?
If you think my old ass about to come,
if it's not when you 10 years old.
Hello.
Like what's the And
with my body, it's always been make it smaller. I've always been a plus size girl. Where's you need a girdle? I'm 5. I don't want to wear no girdle. I don't want to wear no damn girdle. Grandma, please help.
Listen,
get me out of this.
I'll never forget, before we go to break, y'all, I remember literally being the only girl on the basketball team that wore like full underwear. Yeah. All the girls, I went to school, white girls, they wore thongs. And they was like, your mom makes you wear Superman drawers? I'm like, Superman drawers is crazy. Listen, y'all, when we come back, we are going to go ahead and tap in. That timer is going off and it's letting us know. Wrap it up, go to break, and come back, baby. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, stay in the hallways, and we'll see you back to wrap it up. All right, y'all. DJ John said, get it together. Stay on the timeline, right? But we are chit-chatting up in the hallways. That's exactly why it's the Hall Pass Uncut, because once you get that Hall Pass, it took you a while to come back to class. Because you was doing what you were doing. You saw your friends. You was in the bathroom.
Office.
Okay. What you doing? You got cupcakes? What birthday is it? Can I get one? Shit. So before we go ahead, as we wrap it up, I do just want to hit 2 questions. And those final 2 questions, one is, some argue that there are so many resources out there, and we've been talking a lot about the Black and brown community. And so they state that so many resources are out there, and we just as a people just don't do our part to go and get them. What do we feel about that sentiment?
Absolutely correct.
Ooh. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it is. It's little stuff that I find that people don't show up to. Like, there's a resource at the library where you can get your computers fixed for free. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
like, oh shit.
Yeah. Like, there's free STI testing. There's places you can go to get free clothing. There's places that you can go to do free educational classes. Eventbrite is some people's best friend, and so there are resources out there. They're not abundant, I won't say that. They're not always accessible.
There we go.
That's where it is. But if you're looking for a certain thing, it's you can be able to find it. I've survived off finding scholarships, asking for people for money.
Listen,
hey, what you doing? Like, I'm a Black woman.
Talk about that.
I'm from the ghettos of Detroit. Like, please give me some money. Use your story and ask people for help. And that's a big thing of being able to do the research for the resource you need.
I would touch on what you said. I do believe that there are a lot of resources out here, but I'm not sure that they are as accessible as they should be. Like, I used to be at the library because I used to tutor. Baby, I didn't know that about the like Like, I feel like the people with the resources could do a little bit better of a job making them accessible and kind of meeting people where they are. Like, in this economy, most people got 2-3 jobs. You know, like, do I have the capacity to go out there and do the work? And so I'm in the middle, because it's like, you should still have the willpower to go out there and advocate for yourself, right? But just accessibility, in my opinion.
I would say I teeter. And I especially love having this conversation with my granny. Shout out to my granny, because that's my OG. That's my girl. We literally have these conversations because she's like, we just gotta get it together. We always asking for a handout, but we ain't doing nothing. Why we ain't taking care of our community and our city look like this because of us? And I'm like, dang, hold on, right? Relax. Because I think another part is you only know so much. And so, right, there's generational curses and, that wheel that just keeps getting passed down. And then there's like this poor mentality with some people that's continuously passed down to others. And so it just continues to go unless somebody breaks the cycle. And so what I say is, you know, we need them when we talk about accessibility. Where are all these community centers that are shut down in these neighborhoods?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So if I don't have transportation, I can walk down a corner and I can go to that rec center, and I know there's going to have a sex ed class there.
Yes.
There's tutoring available, you know, different things like that. So I say, I get it. Yes, we need to go out there, but sometimes literally we don't know. So how do I get to those people who nobody in their family has higher than a 6th grade education? Nobody finished school. You know, nobody's doing any of these things, and some of them don't even have a job. So how do I reach them?
Right.
That's something I talk about at the community, because I go to a lot of community events, whether that's here in Oakland County, Wayne. I work in Lansing as well. Like, I go to a lot of community
Not
events.
the old school roots.
Yeah, by campus all the time. But that's one thing we talk about is like we know where the resources are because we're here. How do we get other people in the room?
Right.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to do free yoga, I could tell you 5 different places right now where to go to do free yoga. You know,
I'm gonna get that
I was
later.
gonna say,
though.
let me know.
Yeah,
about
let
that.
me.
We're
gonna have to do a
at
class.
least 3 times a week in the summer.
Wow. Oh yeah.
Because I just know where it's at and who's
right.
If I wanted a free sewing class, I could go and get it. Like, it's just little stuff that, I don't know. Like, I try to post things on my story. I try to make a special Instagram to get it to people. But how do you get those resources to people?
And
get them to show up.
Showing up is another thing, too.
Showing up.
I hate to say it because even showing up to damn parent teacher conference, I couldn't even tell you. I have a room of, one time I taught 45 kids to a classroom, and I only saw 7 parents. Oh wow! How? That's not even half. Not even close to half.
That's disheartening.
Like, how do I get you to show up? Okay, if I add foods, okay, I might get 8. Right. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if I put that your child gets extra credit, I get 1.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it goes back to value too. Like, what do you value? But I also am that person that's like, we just have to keep preaching it, because I think people are really feeling it, and the more that they feel it, and then we say, hey, here's how you combat that, we reach.
Yeah, and empower the youth to like break those generational curses.
Yes.
Like, it's so heavy because there's no one way to do so, but letting them know like what you see does not have to be your reality. Like what you are taught might be wrong.
Hello?
You know, so.
Shoot, we learning that now.
Yes.
And it's hard because it's like I have sometimes events and it's like, it's virtual. It's after school.
Yeah.
And you get a $30 DoorDash gift card.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it's still like 2 people signed up.
Yeah.
Even for adults. You get a $30 Maya gift card.
Right. Signed up, but then don't even come.
Don't come. It was today.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Kills me. Now, if I told you Floods had free entry and free catfish.
There.
I told you this place had free lamb chops.
You'll be
there immediately.
With the sauce on the side.
There.
Sauce.
There. But I feel like that might be a reflection of where we are in our economy. Like, I know, just for me and the families that I work with, like I said, a lot of these parents are either don't have a job because they've messed around and had so many kids, and now they're they can't work. Yeah, because you got
care.
Kids that child care is so
affordable
expensive.
What is that?
You know what and so I feel like people are like diving into the liquor and the drugs and the escapism and not, like you said, it's almost like that poor man mindset that continues to proliferate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then you know what really kills me though too is the phrase pulling yourself up by your bootstraps.
Ugh. It's annoying.
What if I don't have no damn boots?
What if I don't have the boots?
Where the fucking straps at? Make it.
What if I had the boots and then somebody took my boots?
Hello? Hate it. Don't understand it. Hello?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess that will lead into this last question is, what is one piece of advice that you would give to those who are saying, you know what, talking about this community, talking about outreach and engagement, it makes me think about my impact in community. What's the first step?
Like you mentioned earlier, I don't know if it was on screen or not, but like some people try to do this for like attention. You know, I'ma start the first black organization and all that.
Well,
But there's a DBAO right on Grand River, you know, and that's like, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to be the pop star, superstar. Yeah, there are people already doing the work. Yeah, find out where you can fit into the work. Find out how you can show up.
Yes. Ooh. Yes.
Yeah. Be intentional on where you spend your money.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh.
You know?
Gag the girls.
At the end of the day, you can be donating some money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I work in nonprofit and I still donate to nonprofit. Yeah. Or I donate my time. Yeah. Or I still show up in places where I can show up. Yes. That's huge. Yeah. So I would say, don't reinvent the wheel. Find somebody that's doing the work. Join their movement. Try to figure out where you can, you know, just fit in, and then also put time or money back into your community because that's what's needed.
Ate that. I would say be the change that you want to see. I feel like so often people like see some of the cracks in the community or ways that the community can be repaired, and they have this big grandiose idea about how to approach it, when it's like, are you reflecting that? Are you making the changes so that you can be a model to others? So do what it is that you want to see before you try to go and teach somebody else how to do it. Ooh. So
okay, choir. Woo, yeah. I think what both of you just said speaks volumes, right? We're talking about reflection. We're talking about who I am, making sure that I see my community, also making sure that I know my change, but also just starting is what I hear. Like, just do it. Just do it. Yeah. You don't have to wait till Monday. You don't have to wait till the new year, new me.
No. Or wait till somebody else decide to do it. No,
right.
You can do it.
No, make an excuse.
You got it.
Get up and do it.
Just get up and do something. And it can be a small, and like I like how we talked about too, donation, and donating not just meaning monetary, but like my time.
Yeah.
My time, my resources, my knowledge, my conversation, my platform, i.e. this. Like, get on here and say what you need to say. Let these people see your face. Let them know that there are people out here for you. Come to them and talk to them. Yeah. Find out, figure out what we can do, and go from there.
And that's what we can do. And we need it more than ever just because of our current administration. Yes. We need to find ways to give back and stay included in our community.
Yeah.
So
and connected.
Like even all the work that happened in the Southwest community. I love how people just like rallied together to get those resources together. And how they still are. So,
Yes. I went to see Sarah Jakes last week. She was in Detroit. I missed it. And her message was, do what you can. You may not be able to do everything. Yeah. You know, but one thing that I always say is don't do nothing just because you can't do everything. Ooh. Do something. Yeah, so do what you can. Yeah. You might not be able to, you're not going to be able to change the world tomorrow. No. You know what I'm saying? No. But what can you do?
Exactly. Gradual change.
That's all we can do.
Gradual change. So I guess any resources y'all would like to shout out, share, something that you can give.
So I'll share the nonprofit that I work for because they're very progressive and they would love this. So I work for the Student Advocacy Center. So if you have a child or know a child that... have you heard of that nonprofit? If you know a child or have a child who is experiencing like behavioral issues, who needs support with special education rights, the Student Advocacy Center provides free education advocacy from Wayne County all the way to Washtenaw County. So...
That's amazing.
No, seriously.
I'm not gonna plug my job, but just because it's kind of serious. But I will say, if you're looking for great resources to talk to your children about their bodies or sexual health or consent, just anything to kind of get those conversations started, I would definitely recommend amaze.org. That's a great website to go on. They have a lot of like immersive videos that you can show or watch yourself so that you can learn the information before you talk to them. Because as a parent, your child still listens to you about sexual health.
Yes.
as a friend, your friends listen to you about sexual health. I know my friends get tired of me.
Listen.
And so amaze.org, Scarlet Teen is another one, especially for teenagers. And just if you're looking for sexual health education, make sure it's a reputable site. Hit me up if you're looking for a class, any age. I teach all ages. And yeah, just care about your sexual health, care about your body, care about your health. Always prioritize that. Yeah, if you lay down with somebody, your health still leaves with you. So prioritize that always.
Ooh. When you lay down with somebody, your health still leaves with. Okay, that's a word.
Yes.
Yeah, a word. Now y'all understand why I had them on the show. Thank you. Both
thank you
for coming on the show. Come back to the hallway anytime. Yeah. As your pass.
I love the hallway.
Expires. Okay. Your pass never expires. Make sure that you all, if you have not, go ahead and run that tape back so you can hear these resources, take notes, pause, write it down, do the transcript, whatever you need. Do what you got to do. But I want to leave you with make the change and just start today. Make the change and start now. If you know somebody who you're trying to pull in or is kind of like teetering about what can I do, who's my community, have this conversation, throw this podcast to them and figure it out from there. Talk about this episode. Hey, you know what? Now I know who I am. Now I know my community, and now I know what I need to do. So y'all know what I always say. Love y'all. Peace and hair grease. Bye.
Bye.